The first card you have for your past is the King of Wands. Yeah, this card, this can be about wanting to take action, wanting to move forward, but not quite being ready to do that. Kind of just sitting there thinking about, oh, what do I have to do? How am I going to do this? It's kind of planning. It's kind of really, really wanting to move forward, but then thinking, no, I need to plan first. I can't jump up and do this yet. I think you were over someone at this time. I think you were definitely over someone, but I think you're still sort of in thought mode. You're still thinking a lot about this person. And I think you've been through a process of looking inwards, thinking about, why you're attracting certain people to you, not just in relationships. I think there have been a lot of people in your life, a few people in your life who used you, actually. They used you. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing one specific person who's always seen you as kind of the sensible one. And that's how you probably come across to a lot of people. You come across as the sensible one. But sensible one doesn't always mean gullible one. And I think this is a family member who thinks this about you. And they've always thought this about you, I think. And I think, you probably do have more control over your life than some of these people. And I think some of these people around you, I'm seeing a family member, I'm seeing an ex, and I'm seeing some other people as well. A lot of people see you this way. And I think, some of these people had problems. They had real problems. They still do have problems. And you have a kind heart as well. I think you've gone out to help some of these people. But, I think if these people wanted what you had, they were going to have to look at what you did to get what you had, if that makes sense, instead of just comparing themselves to you and wishing they had more like you. You can't just sit there and look at someone and say, oh, I wish I were like them. You've got to say, well, how do I get this? If I want this, how do I do that? What did they do? Did they do this? Did they do that? What can I do? Oh, I can do this, I can do that, instead of just saying, oh, it's not fair, I'm here and they're there. And I think some people have real problems. I know that sounds harsh. Things aren't always people's fault. I know that. I know some people have horrible things happen to them. They have illnesses, and they have horrible financial situations, and they have people hurt them I know that. I'm not always saying that everyone's responsible for themselves and they have to kind of pull themselves out of everything. But I think some of these people in this case that I'm seeing around you could definitely have taken better control of their own lives instead of trying to rely on you or look toward you. And again, I'm seeing this one family member around this. This is someone who's always compared themselves to you, I think. And I think at this time you're just thinking about all of this. You're thinking about how you could protect yourself from these people who try and use you, for want of a better word. But you also didn't want to change your kind nature. You didn't want to become all hard and horrible. And there are a lot of things in your life that you were thinking about moving forward with as well. But I think that maybe you just felt as if you still had a lot more thinking to do first. You kind of had to get through all these feelings and all these emotions, and how you deal with all these people, and how you'd avoid all of the problems you had in your past, all these kind of people and things happening again in your future. And this was a really good thing. And I think you did this in your last reading. I think this was a process you're already in, and you're still kind of going through that. There's still more you have to sort through. So this king's ready to get up and go, but he's not going yet. He's thinking. And there's a salamander, there's a lizard behind his head, and it looks as if it's kind of running around in circles. So just like when something's going around and round in your mind, it's kind of running around, not in a confused way. I think it was just that you still had a lot of thinking to do before you were able to move forward on some of these things that you wanted to do. And I think you're planning some personal things, and I think you're planning some practical things, and I think you're planning some business things as well, or some work things. So the next card you have for your past is the devil. Yes, the ugly, horrible old devil. I think this might actually be about this relative of yours, this family member, and the way they see you. yeah, this is the same person I was seeing in the King of Wands. It's not that they see you as the devil, but they might see you as someone who wants to get a bit ahead of themselves. It's a bit of envy. That's what I'm seeing here. Maybe they see you as someone who's a bit greedy, and maybe, this is how they justify their actions to themselves. It's like they're sort of thinking something like, oh, they have more than me and it's not fair and they should share, and they always think they're better than me. They always think they're above me. They always have. It's just not fair. They're always the chosen one and they're always this and that and whatever. Obviously not in those exact words, but that's the sort of thing I'm picking up from them. And, of course, it's a good thing to help your family. There's nothing wrong with that. It's always a good thing to do that. I help my family. But certain people, not everyone, but certain people, and certainly this person who thinks this about you, they need to be at least trying to help themselves. And I think this person might be stuck in a role that they might have put themselves in, if that makes sense. It's like they're sort of chained to that role, a bit like these poor people are chained to this horrible devil. So if this is resonating with you, I know you probably feel like keeping away from this person if this is how they see you. I would too, probably. But I think the only way they're going to be able to get out of this situation that they're in and help themselves is if they change the way they feel about themselves. They need to see themselves as someone who's capable. They need to see themselves as someone who can do things, who can work their way out of things. And I know that probably sounds a bit cringy, but I think this is the kind of help they need. Instead of someone giving them things, instead of someone feeling sorry for them, and I'm not saying you'd be doing that, but I think there was a bit of that in the past maybe, they need someone to help them to see themselves in a new way. That's what I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. So the last card you have, your past, is the Seven of Swords. Yes. So again, you've been through so much. You've had so many nasty people around you. You really, really have. I'm just seeing this quite clearly. And again, I'm not going around saying, oh, poor you, but this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. You're a strong person, but this is what I'm seeing. So yeah, a lot of people have left their mark on you, especially this love connection that you were getting over. The man on this card, he's stolen 5 swords, but he's left 2 behind and they're stuck into the ground. So you were hurt and you felt stabbed actually. And I think, because there are 2 swords stuck in the ground, maybe they left you, came back again, hurt you again a second time and left again. It might be that. Maybe that's why I'm seeing these 2 swords stabbing you. So, you were really, really hurt. And, you're definitely moving on now. You're definitely doing that. You're so resilient. You're so strong. And that's why people see you as strong, because they see you getting out of things easily and quickly, moving on. Your heart isn't moving on quickly, but nobody sees that. They just see the outside. And you're so strong on the outside. So yeah, I think I saw this in your last reading as well, this thing that you're kind of moving on from someone. But yes, okay, so this is what I'm seeing. If you've ever wondered if this person has any regrets, or if they ever think about what they've done to you and they're upset and they regret it and they feel bad about it, this is showing me that they do. This man's running away, but he's looking back. So they do look back over what happened, and I think they try to forget about it. They try to forget about things, but they can't. They have memories of what happened. They have feelings about these memories going around in their head, and they do affect them. That's what I'm seeing. They do think about this and they do regret this. Just know that. So the first card you have for your present is the 4 of Swords. So again, they're trying to shut their eyes. They're trying to forget about this, but they can't do this because they have some great big swords stuck over their head, like this poor man. He's shutting his eyes, he's lying down, he's saying, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to do this. I want to forget I've done all these terrible things. But the swords are almost sticking into their head, not quite. So yeah, I think this is another reason why you weren't taking action on things as well in your life in the King of Wands. I think you just needed an emotional rest. You just needed an emotional rest and a physical rest, probably. I'm getting a lot of tiredness around this. You're just exhausted, I think, from everything you've been through. So I think this is telling me that you need to just take a pause, take a break. I know you're the kind of person who is really into your work, into your business, all of that stuff. You probably want to forge ahead. You think, oh, I've got things to do. I can't rest. I have to do this and that and this. No, take a rest, take a break, even if it's an hour, even if it's a weekend, even if it's a day on a weekend or an evening. Curl up on the sofa, lie down, watch Netflix, get some hot chocolate or something and rest. That's what I'm seeing you need to do. The next card you have your present is the Chariot. So yeah, you're still protecting yourself as well, and I can see why you are. I mean, you're not ready for any new love. You've been through so much. This is all the fallout, that you were dealing with after this terrible separation. And again, I think you might be feeling a bit frustrated with yourself because you're tired. You're trying to push forward. You're trying to get through this. You're trying to get over this person. You're trying to get everything done. And you're a bit frustrated because you're not getting all these things done. I think a lot of the time, because you're so efficient, you make plans, especially around work, and you're organized and you tick things off lists and, things like that. But the heart doesn't know anything like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't know, I have to be over this by this date. I have to be finished by this deadline. Your work knows deadlines, but your heart doesn't know deadlines. It's just going to be over it when it is. And I think you know that deep down. You know that. It just takes as long as it takes. And I think you'd probably love to be a little bit like the man on this card, determined, pushing through things, rushing forward in the chariot, forcing your way out of how you're feeling. But you can't do that. So again, be kind to yourself, rest. It's going to take time. Just sit through this. Don't keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Take some time out, like I'm seeing in the Four of Swords again. The last card you have your present is the Sun. Yeah, I'm seeing clarity in this card. I'm seeing clarity, I'm seeing honesty, and I'm seeing innocence in this card. I think there's something that's kind of been bubbling under the surface, and you're going to come out and you're going to say something to someone. And you might have been sitting on this for a while, I think. I think there was some kind of bad behavior or something that was being said over and over again. Something subtle maybe. I think it might have been said to someone who's very close to you, who you care about. And I think what they've been doing is suddenly going to become really, really clear to you. And when the sun suddenly shines on something, it illuminates it and it enables you to be able to see everything really clearly all of a sudden. And yeah, I think that for a while you were standing back, witnessing some of this behavior, and maybe weren't sure whether that was really what was happening. You were a little bit suspicious, but you were thinking, maybe that's not what it is. Maybe I'm just imagining things. They can't be like that. They're really nice, actually. No, they can't be doing that. But now you're going to be really seeing all of this clearly, and you're going to be saying something. I think you're sort of going to be pointing out the obvious. It's a bit like, that fairy tale, The Emperor's New Clothes, and this is a child on this card, a little innocent child who comes out and says something. A child is always going to tell you the truth about things. If you don't look good in what you're wearing, a little child is going to come and tell you, you look terrible today. They're going to come and tell you. And you don't normally put yourself out there like this. But I think this process that you've been through and you're still going through, I think it's made you really, really clear and really adamant about what's right and what's wrong. And you're going to come and point this out. And, I think as you keep on coming through this process and as you come out of this process, you're going to become even more assertive and more confident, and you won't be putting up with any more of these blurred lines. There's not going to be any more, oh, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. Any little shady thing, any talk, anything like that, you're going to come out and say, that's not right, don't do that. It's not like you're going to be rude or mean or whatever. You're just going to come out and you're going to say. And this is really good, actually, because I think there might have been these kind of blurred lines that brought you a lot of heartbreak in your past. I think, you know, you weren't quite sure where this person was, this ex or whoever, and you're kind of all confused around them and ambiguous, and then maybe they lied to you and they said, oh, I'm going to be here, but they're actually there and whatever. And you kind of thought, oh, that's a bit suspicious, but no, they, you know, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And now you're not going to do that from now on. So this is really good to see. This is really, really good to see. So the first card you have for your future is the Two of Wands. So yeah, I think you're right on the edge at this time. You're right on the edge of going out and achieving some of these things that you've been really, really wanting to move forward on. All of these things I'm seeing in the King of Wands, where he's sitting there thinking, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet. I need to process a lot of things. I'll be ready a bit later on. I'm still thinking. And now I think you're going to be ready. For a long time, you weren't ready. You just had to get your confidence back and you had to get yourself back. And as I was seeing in the Sun card, this is the new you now. And this new you isn't going to put up with anything half-hearted or ambiguous or ambiguous, I'm trying to say, or anything that you don't feel 100% comfortable and happy with. You know, unless you're 100% happy with something, you are not going to put up with it ever again. Now, again, you're not going to be nasty, you're not going to be difficult or anything like that. You're not going to turn into this devil that this person thinks you are. You're just going to be someone who knows exactly what they want. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. That's fantastic. If you look at the man on this card, he has the whole world out in front of him. He has a few decisions to make still, and so do you. But I think now you're going to have this clarity that comes with the Sun card and this confidence that I'm seeing in the Sun card as well. And you're going to be able to make these decisions with clarity, without any doubts now. You're not going to be second guessing yourself. I'm getting this feeling that someone used to make you second guess yourself. Maybe this ex, again, same thing I'm seeing. Maybe they made you think, well, maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe I'm not thinking that. Maybe they really are. Maybe their phone really was switched off. Maybe their phone's broken. You know, of course it's not. It never is. It's always there talking to someone else, or they just don't want to talk to you. It's some lie. I don't know. Yeah, okay. If your phone's turned off, if your phone's broken, don't be mad at me. But usually, if someone says, come on, if someone says to you, oh, I need to recharge my phone. Sorry, it was turned off. Come on. Okay, so anyway, whatever. So yeah, you're going to be seeing things really, really clearly, and you're not going to put up with any more of that rubbish again. That's what I'm seeing. So the next card you have for your future is Justice. Here we are, Justice. So I think this might be about the situation in the Sun card. Yeah, I'm seeing some denials. I'm seeing some denials here. Someone might be denying what you're pointing out to them. You're pointing out the obvious. You're saying, that's not fair. You said this. That's incorrect. You're lying or whatever, and that's wrong. And I'm not going to let you do this to my friend. It's something like that. And they're denying. They're going to be denying. They're going to be lying about it or whatever. And this, again, I'm seeing this is about someone you're close to. This is about someone you're close to. And I think, yeah, this has been happening on and off for a long time, and you've been observing this and you're finally saying something. But I think that no matter how many times they try and deny this, it's going to be really, really obvious. It's going to be obvious to you, and it's going to be obvious to other people as well. And everyone's going to be able to see what they've been doing. It's going to be so obvious. So, you know, they're not going to get away with whatever this is. I'm actually seeing things on social media on a screen. There are words on a screen. So this might be where they're denying things. They might be on social media going, oh, I'm being accused of this and I haven't done anything. It's not fair, la, la, la. Or they might be, or you might have caught them out on social media. It might be that as well. But there's something on a screen. There's some words on a screen I'm seeing. But yeah, that makes it even more obvious. That means if they're on social media, they're out on the internet, everyone can see it. So yeah. They're going to be exposed even more. That's what I'm seeing. Sorry, I'm swallowing a lot. I can't help it. I just needed to swallow. Someone complained once. Someone said in the comments, oh, I can hear you swallowing. It's really terrible. You have to stop doing that. Well, I'm a human and I swallow. The last card you have for your future is, I'm not putting up with any rubbish either. I'm like the Sun card. Yeah, the Page of Wands. So you're going to be finally, at this time, you're going to be moving forward now. This is the time of really moving forward. You wanted to move forward in the King of Wands. You were thinking about it, almost there in the Two of Wands. Now in the Page of Wands, you're there. You're there. Look at these salamanders or these lizards, and I was seeing them in the head, behind the head of the King of Wands, kind of where he was just thinking, and they were kind of circling behind his head. Now they're on the clothes of the Page of Wands. They're on his body, which means he's ready to move, he's ready to run, he's ready to go. Yeah, there's a lot of action here. There's a lot of action that's about to happen. And this is you back again. You're back now. This is what you thrive on. You thrive on making things happen, and they're going to happen. You have the Sun card as well, which is the ultimate yes card. I'm also just seeing something else here. This is a warning. Okay, it's something small, don't worry, something small. I'm just going to say this. Just be careful with spending or overspending around this time. Now, I'm not seeing anything huge. I'm not saying you're going to go out and put a loan out on a Ferrari or something ridiculous, but you're going to be very tempted by things. You're going to be somewhere where there's going to be a lot of amazing something somewhere, and you're going to, oh, I want this, I want that, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. Just be very careful. There are going to be a lot of temptations in front of you. If you do see some things that you really want, you feel, I can't live without that, I want that thing. Leave it in the shop, leave it there, go away for 24 hours, go to sleep, wake up, and then think about it again. Do I still want this thing? If it's something you can't live without, then go back and buy it. If it's 10 things, narrow it down to half of that or a quarter of that. Do be sensible. That's what I'm seeing in this card, because I'm seeing you're going to be quite tempted to buy things or overspend or something like that. That's what I'm seeing.